Yo, what's up, family? It's your boy, the Expert Genius, aka XP, and I'm back with another video. And I want to talk about last night's fight with Sean Porter and Earl Spence, which is an instant classic and fight of the year, in my opinion. Now, I want to get one thing out the way. Yes, I have been going around collecting my crow because I picked Sean Porter to win, but one thing I did say that I was telling people is that this fight was not going to be an easy fight, and Earl Spence wasn't going to dominate or dog walk Sean Porter like everybody thought. And another thing I want to, get out the way is people talking about, this was a robbery and all that kind of stuff, and that Earl Spence got exposed. No, he didn't. Sean Porter's style is tough for anybody. It was tough for Keith Thurman, and it was tough for Danny Garcia. It was tough for Kell Brook. It was tough for Ugas. It's tough. So Earl Spence did not get exposed. He just got off in there with a tough dog that nobody was really giving credit. Now, I had Sean Porter up by a round going into the 11th, and that knockdown changed the fight, because when he got knocked down and I seen the referee counting, the energy just left me. I was like, yep, this fight's over. It's over. I knew he wasn't gonna knock Porter out, but I knew that knockdown was enough to change the fight. I don't agree with those scorecards that had it in a wide margin for Spence and a wide margin for Porter. I want to know what fight they were watching and judging to think that either fighter won by a wide margin. I just don't get it. Now, there's some things that in the post fight I didn't like. I didn't like how, they asked Spence about, Crawford, and, instead of talking about the fight, he started bringing up, numbers and all that. And I didn't like how Sean Porter got off in there and was talking about how, the fight sold because of him and all that kind of stuff. Nobody wanted to hear that. And I also didn't like how Spence didn't seem too eager to want to run it back with Sean Porter. He was talking about, couldn't get a fight with Terrence Crawford. How, he'll fight Danny Garcia and this person, or he'll move up to 154 and fight J-Rock and all that. Or he might do it again with Porter. He didn't seem like he was too, enthusiastic about giving Sean Porter a rematch. I didn't like that, and I just say I want to keep everything 100 and hold every fighter accountable and don't have double standards. I was a Joshua fan until I started seeing certain moves he was making, and I didn't like it. And with EJ, he kind of getting that big head, and it's not as bad, but I'm kind of seeing that same thing with EJ. He getting that big head, and I'm seeing some stuff out of Terrence Crawford, and everybody know I'm a Terrence Crawford fanboy, but I'm also seeing stuff, I don't like about him. But You know, we gotta hold all these fighters accountable, hold them all to the same standards and not different standards because we like this fighter and we don't like this fighter. No, all fighters need to be held to the same standards. We need to be fans of boxing and not fans of boxers. But like I said, it was a damn good fight last night, and when it comes to the low blows, both of them was dirty. You know, Sean got a headbutt in, and he threw some low blows back to counter, you know, Spence's low blows and all that kind of stuff. But none of those low blows determined the fight. I mean, I can understand people talking about the low blows if, you know, it determined the fight, but it actually didn't. You know, and Sean, he didn't do like everybody else to get hit, you know, below the belt and try to milk it and, you know, sell that they hurt. Nah, he kept trying to go. And people saying that, oh, that was a bee around my head. But people saying that, you know, Porter didn't hurt Spence. Nah, they hurt each other. That knockdown knocked Sean, you know, knocked his equilibrium off. But you can tell he wasn't hurt. It was like he was more disappointed than anything. But it lit a fire in him because he went, when he got up, he went back after Earl. But it was a good fight. I want to see a rematch and all that kind of stuff. Another thing I didn't like is Danny Garcia, you know, jumping in the ring and, you know, challenging Earl. I didn't like that because Danny has used Earl Spence's name, just name dropping and clout chasing, because I remember he could have fought Earl Spence last June, because after one of his fights, he was talking about, you know, he wanted Spence and he was gonna fight him in June, but as soon as it came around to, you know, announce his opponent for June, he backtracked on facing Earl Spence. And I like, no, I don't like that. I don't like that. So he can jump in the ring all he want and all that kind of stuff. Danny Garcia got a puncher's chance because I think he is the hardest puncher in the welterweight division, and he looked big as hell last night in the ring with Sean Porter and Earl Spence. But I'm rocking with Earl Spence in that fight because Danny looks to counter and he don't let his hands go. He got the Adrian Broner syndrome. He don't let his hands go, and that's gonna be to Earl Spence's benefit. So it is what it is. But all in all, like I said, can't stop saying it. It was a great fight. I'm eating crow because, you know, I wanted Porter to win. I was going against the grain since everybody was picking Spence, because my initial pick was going to be Spence, but, you know, everybody was picking Spence and, you know, just saying how he was going to dog walk Sean Porter and how he was going to destroy Sean Porter. And I was like, wait a minute. I don't see that. So I'm going to go against the grain, and I'm going to go with my boy, you know, Sean Porter. Even though I am from Texas, I'm from Lubbock, Texas, but right now I'm living in Oklahoma City. And, you know, I support my fellow Texan, but I just had to go with Sean Porter because, you know, everybody was picking Earl Spence, but everybody was picking him to do this in a dominant fashion, just, you know, shitting on Porter. And I'm like, no, it ain't gonna be like that. It's not gonna be no easy fight. It's not gonna be no dog walk. It's gonna be a hard fight. You I'll be damned. Sean Porter came out there. He came to do the damn thing. He came to fight. He was not scared of Spence at all, which lead me to think, was he really ducking Spence, or was he doing like everybody else? And he had a plan before he got in the ring with Earl Spence. And Spence, he, like Black Fight Fan said earlier, you got to take this serious. I mean, you can't play with this. You gotta take this serious. And that whole strength and conditioning, which Trap House, I just left his video what he was talking about. That whole strength and conditioning thing left me confused. And I remember in the press conference, Sean mentioning something about that, because he said he didn't have strength and conditioning for the Mikey Garcia fight, but for this fight, he had strength and conditioning. He's been working on that, but then he came back and said he didn't have no strength and conditioning going into this fight with Porter. And Porter was like, he was talking to whoever that lady was that was narrating everything. I didn't like her, but he was like, he said he had it, but then he don't have it. Which is it? Which to me is like, yeah, which is it? Because you can't say you changed it up and you had strength and conditioning for Sean Porter, but then say, I didn't have it. You can't have it both ways. That's like some Eddie Hearn stuff, saying one thing in the sentence and then saying something completely different in the same sentence. That's like, you can't be contradicting yourself like that, bro. And they was both missing shots, and I seen some, just looking at the fight, I seen some stuff that, even though he missed a lot of shots, I seen some punches that Porter land that they wasn't even counting. And it was like, wait, hold up. Y'all gotta count that. And I can't say anything about the commentary, because I wasn't even though I went somewhere to watch the fight and it was loud, I was also listening to Trey X call the fight, because that's how I do things now. If I'm watching the fight, I'll turn the TV down and I'll listen to Trey X, because I was bouncing in between Trey X and my boy What's Blazing. So, I was going in between those and all that kind of stuff. Because last night was good for boxing. That was a good card and some good fights. But Earl proved that he had grit and all that. Porter proved that he also had grit. And he was setting, nobody's talking about this, he was setting traps for Earl Spence, that Spence was going into the whole fight that he really didn't adjust. And I like how he was backing in the corner and backing against the ropes and letting Spence come to him, and then he'll do that spin and spin Earl into the corner or into the ropes and start landing his shots. I was like, yeah, Spence, you need to stop falling for that, because he trying to get you. Like I said, I love to see the rematch, because that was a close ass fight, and I could be wrong. In my opinion, last night's fight was closer than the Thurman Porter fight and the Garcia Porter fight. It was, to me, that fight was closer than Thurman Garcia. That was a close ass fight. And like I said, there was no robbery. Earl Spence was not exposed and the right man won. Because like I said, I had Sean Porter winning until he got dropped. But this is your boy, the Expert Genius, aka XP. Let me know what you think about my opinion, because this is all my opinion. But let me know what you think about my opinion. Go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe. And if you don't like what I'm saying, still leave a comment and hit that dislike button. It's all the same to me. It's all good. It's all love. We all boxing fans. But until next time, this is your boy XP. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. And I'm out. Peace.